think it just, there we go. We're live, I believe.
We're live.
All righty. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Whether you're watching this recorded or you are watching it live, we are live.
We are live. I'm turning my audio down.
Oh, there we go. Let me just get this. There's got to be a few bugs that we're going to work through on this, on this first.
I'm turning my audio down. Oh yeah, I hear myself and yours.
Yeah, I just muted mine, so we should be good to go. So again, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us. The first SmartyPlants Friday Live.
Hi everybody. Nice to see everybody. I think let's see who's here. Anybody?
We'll go right to the chat.
Anybody here?
So the idea behind this is we just, we were going to do a live event a couple of weeks ago, and then we had a little COVID scare here, and we had gotten sick, we had gotten cold. So in the end, we've been kind of holding off, and we've been talking about doing this, and then Judi lives about an hour away from me, so it is hard to back and forth one day a week every week. So we figured we'd try to do the Zoom, and then sometimes we'll go live together and we'll do stuff live, together either at my house or at her house, or sometimes we'll just be on the Zoom meeting. So the idea behind this is just to kind of wrap up the week. We'll talk about just a bunch of different stuff that's going on in the site. We'll do some questions. We might have some guests on. It's kind of loose right now, and we're
celebrity guests.
Celebrity guests, possibly.
You never know.
Quasi celebrity guests, C-level guests sometimes. But no, the idea is to have some fun. We want to incorporate everyone that's on the site, whether you're jump on live and watch us, or we might just gather some information throughout the week to present on Friday, and we can talk about some stuff. So
I mean, eventually we thought it would be fun to be interactive, so we can actually take questions and maybe pull somebody up into the Zoom. Like, the whole idea is we want you guys to get to know us, and we want to get to know you. And it's been super, super fun for us to see all of you in the group and commenting and sharing your pictures. And I just, first of all, want to say thank you so much for being a part of our group, because you make us, you make our group and our meal planners and our Kickstarters. I mean, we're trying to create a SmartyPlants family, and it's actually happening. And for us, it's so exciting to see it come alive. So we thought, since the whole world is going live, we might as well go live, and so you guys can kind of get to know us, and we can all get to know each other a little bit better.
And whatever level that is. I mean, some people jump on and like a few things here and there. Some people post. I know some people reach out and just say, hey, I'm not really super active in the group, but I try to comment. That's great. That all adds to it as well. So it doesn't matter whether you're just liking a few things or commenting here or there or posting a photo here or there. It's all collectively part of what's going on, and we appreciate whatever level your participation is. Is fantastic. But obviously,
we love seeing that you're there too.
Yeah. For sure.
Nice.
So we will change things up. We will announce kind of doing new features or doing new things. We may change the time, or we do like the idea of Friday. We want to try to include as many people as we can. I mean, obviously having people live interacting in the chat room and things like that would be great. It is hard to kind of find a time, so we may move the times and stuff, and we'll try to make announcements every week of when we're doing it, and then try to see when the best times will be.
Well, we picked this time because we release our meals on Friday, so we thought that would be kind of a fun thing to do, like for the meal planners anyway. The meals come out Friday morning, so we were thinking it's just kind of a fun day, Friday, the weekend's coming. It just feels
one's
like
really working.
Who's working at Friday at 3? But we felt like it's kind of fun. We're getting ready for the weekend. The meals come out, and then we thought, like, eventually we'll figure out a way. If you guys have questions on anything, you'll have time to look over the meals, and then you could email us the questions, or we'll figure out like a way to do it where it's like all questions, and then we could maybe answer them. So before you go shopping, before you make any of these meals, we're trying to tie it into that, and we'll talk about the meals, which we're going to get to in a little bit. Just kind of like little tips about each meal, or like little tricks, or just like maybe some things about each meal that you might need to know that are good to know before you go shopping. So anyway, we're going to tie that in too. But, we'll see how it goes. If Friday isn't working for everybody will see how many people watch this one, and we'll just kind of gauge, the interest. And you guys can let us know too. we know if we ask the group, we're gonna get like, everybody will tell us what's best for them, and then it'll be really hard to pick one. So
I, would mind, I was just throwing out the idea the other day, maybe we'll throw out a survey and just take everyone's input
yeah,
and see if 90% of the people say Friday at 5,
right.
maybe we will just do it at that time, just because that seems to be the best time.
We can really do it anytime, except, you know, Phil and I have our certain times that we're busy that during the week. I mean, but we're pretty flexible. So we could really, you know, base it on, yeah, that feedback for sure.
So the idea is to be interactive and include as many of you as you can. We want everyone to kind of be part of it as we go. So either way, if you can't catch it live, they will be recorded. We'll have them on on Facebook as well, and we'll have them on Facebook. It automatically will save this just as the event, and then we'll also upload them to YouTube and kind of start creating some, you know, kind of a group of these as well as we, you know, kind of do the shows. So keep that in mind. So if you don't watch it live, but yeah, there might be some special things if it is live and you happen to be catching it. You never know what we're going to do.
You never know what's going to pop up live. That is kind of fun about being live. You're right.
Yeah, for sure. And we have thrown around.
I'm more of a behind the scenes kind of person because I'm an editor, and I, like, you guys may have noticed, the members who have been watching our videos, Phil's always live. I'm always editing mine. I like to get right to the point.
I want to be
fun. This is
fun. I want to be done. I want to be done.
Yeah.
When I hit done.
You don't want to edit. You don't want to edit. Yeah, I get it.
But with that being said, when there's a screw up, it's like that. I just have to go with
it.
Just like this. You know, whatever happens, happens, and you just have to be able to roll with it.
So for those of you that don't know, Phil and I are brother and sister. I'm the older sister.
Younger brother, as we can see.
If you can't tell. So yeah, so I've been eating plant-based for about, I think it's 9 years now, maybe. But anyway, we grew up in a big Italian and French family. The Italian side kind of takes over because of all the food and, you know, all the people. We had a big Italian side of our family. And we grew up eating meat and dairy our whole lives. You know, we put cheese on everything, butter and everything. You know, it was just, eating this way was not on our radar at all. And it just became something that I watched a documentary one day, Forks Over Knives. And I know many of you in the group, I know have seen it because we've talked about it. But I watched that documentary and I was done eating meat. It just, I was like, I never planned on it. I didn't even know going into that documentary, that's what was going to happen. But at the end, I was like, you know, and that's how it just happened for me. And then I went home and told my family and they were all like, what are you talking about?
It seemed very extreme. It seemed like, holy cow, I've heard about this.
Extreme to me. I couldn't believe it. I actually was like, am I actually doing this? It took me a long time to process it because I was struggling with that. I really want to do this. But I was like, am I actually doing that? Like, I couldn't even grasp actually doing it at first. That's why we want to be very sensitive to those of you who are just starting and who are, you know, dabbling in this. And, you know, it's your first little dabble into it. We're really sensitive to it because we both remember very well, not that long ago, that we were there as well. So it seemed very daunting to me. And every first, you know, like every first holiday, every first wedding or party, or, you know, it was just, I was awkward. And so I had to like fiddle my way through it and figured it out, but it was not easy that long ago. And like Phil will tell you, he was actually resistant to it at first because it did seem extreme. I remember him saying, what are we going to do for holidays now? You know, he was very like hurt. It was like an emotional thing. And I was like, I don't know, I guess I'll bring my own little meal and you can still have the turkey. You know, it was just kind of a hard, so that's kind of what we did. Like I would bring my own food and just kind of, you know, figure it out. But anyway, so I still ate dairy and fish for a couple years. And then I just started to educate myself on everything. Like I really got super passionate about this really quickly. And I didn't really know why. I was like really into it. And it was like, because the more I learned, the more I wanted to do and like, you know, just like immerse myself into it. So I watched all the documentaries, I read every book, I started listening to podcasts, I started following people and all the big plant-based doctors like Esselstyn, Greger, Dr. Clapper, all of them. I just got immersed in it. And then I didn't really know how to cook. So I took the Ruby, somebody asked me recently in the group where, what classes did you take? I took the Ruby cooking class, plant-based cooking class.
You didn't know how to cook this way. Not that you didn't
Oh,
know how to cook.
yeah. This way I meant. Yeah,
Like
no,
cooking your whole
we
life.
were big cooks. We were always good cooks, the two of us. Well, yeah, thanks. See, I would have cut that out. I cooked. I always cooked. And I was a big holiday, like one of the big holiday cooks, both of us. But anyway, I had to learn to cook this way, plant-based. And I already knew I wanted to go no oil because everything I learned with oil. So yeah, the Ruby class was no oil as well. And I learned how to make cashew sour cream, and I learned how to make dressings with cashews, and I learned how to make, how to dry saute instead of, we started everything with a big glug of olive oil, everything, garlic and onions, So I learned all that, and I was so surprised, like, wow, I don't really need that oil when I start my, soup or whatever I'm making. So I got all the basics down, and then I decided to take the eCornell plant-based course to be certified in plant-based nutrition, which was like, I thought it was a 3 months course, but I just looked online, it said 6 weeks. But it was great. I learned so much. And then once you start, I'm telling you, that's why we do the Kickstart lessons, because the why to me was so important. Sure, I wanted to eat this way and do it for my health, but once I started learning how powerful this diet was for the planet and like the impact it has on the animals and the impact I could have on other people, like my brother, it became such a passion. So that leads into your story.
So yeah, I mean, then like you said, this was never on my radar. I was an unrestricted eater my whole life. We did go through diets. I've been heavy my whole life, and we've done diets and cleanses.
Not real heavy.
No, but heavy enough.
Just a little.
And over the recent years, getting heavier and heavier. I mean, as we get older, you definitely pack on the pounds. And then things happened over my life. When I had quit smoking, I had jumped up, 20 or 30 pounds.
Yeah.
I got into a bad car accident, and I was in bad shape for a year. I packed on another 20 or 30 pounds. Well, trying to get rid of 20 or 30 pounds over the course of years gets, more and more difficult. But in the end, and I don't want to harp on it too much, but yeah, we were on vacation. I was at the heaviest point of my life. I had high blood pressure. I had some just other health issues that were going on, and we had a scare while we were on vacation. We were down seeing my mom in Florida, and Judi was in the middle of kind of trying to put together the 28-day plan. She was talking about doing this business and doing all that. And again, in my mind, it wasn't even something I was going to be involved in, because you are either in or you're not in. Like, I wouldn't hire someone that's like eating roasts and steaks or being someone involved who doesn't really believe in what we're doing. It doesn't make sense.
You weren't even really interested in it. Like when I would talk about it with the family, they weren't that interested in it. No, like they were like, oh, that's your little thing you're doing, and she just eats that way. And they weren't really interested in that. Was fine. But
well, not only that, but even like we were talking about today, I was kind of reveling in my ignorance. It's like, oh, I'm eating bacon and turkey, and you're eating that tofurkey, like that doesn't taste like this. That's not real food. This is like, this is the food. So again, like looking back, it seems ridiculous like that. It was just that
right. Like I'm not really eating. Yeah.
I also had a misconception of what was healthy. I'm eating lean meat and I'm eating low-fat potato chips. And
we all did. That's what I'm saying. Like and I ate turkey bacon. I ate lean chicken. Low-fat, whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Right. We all.
So there was a huge misconception in my mind of what was healthy and what was not. But in the end, when I had the health scare, it was like just like any other time in my life. Hey, you're getting heavy. You need to do something. Oh, I'll go on a fat diet. Oh, I'll do this. I'll do that. Whatever it is. So it's like, all right, well, I'll try this. And I got to say, to my credit, for as kind of weak-willed as I see myself over the years, giving in to just wanting, the taste and whatever. When I'm committed, I'm committed, so it's like, all right, I will give 110% for 28 days and let's see what this does. So I did. I saw dramatic changes just in that 28 days. So I followed, and again, even there, it wasn't a plan where I was online. It was,
I put it together like in a weekend.
Yeah, I'm printing out sheets. She wasn't fully, have the plan fully developed yet. So yeah, it was, here's a loose thing, right? Week to week. It's like, okay, let me finalize this week and start. When we got home from vacation, I wanted to start immediately because unfortunately with me, I know it's like, oh, I'm going to start a diet. Well, I have 4 days where it's going to be pig out city. I'm going to do
Oh my
as many
gosh.
things as I can for 4 days.
No.
You know? And I have that
Wow.
mentality, unfortunately. I know that
Yeah.
about
Yeah, I
myself.
don't have that. I don't have that.
And I didn't want to have extra time on my hands. So it's like, I want to start. You're like, can't you start next week? It's like, I need to start today.
I had to come home from vacation and get busy making this plan. Oh my gosh. I did. I spent that whole, wasn't it Labor Day? Yeah, it was Labor Day.
4th of July.
4th of July
I started
weekend.
on the 4th of July. So that was whatever, the weekend leading in or whatever.
And he was going to a wedding at the end of the month. And I remember you were dead set on just losing weight for the wedding and getting your blood pressure. If Judi says it's going to work, I'll give it a shot, but I want to, he did want to get healthier. Like he was definitely scared, but I remember you wanted to lose weight for that wedding. And he was like, after the wedding, I'm going right back to eating the way I was going to eat. Like it was literally for him, just like a chunk of time and then back.
So yeah. So
After
that, I think we're frozen. It's not in a good
what?
way. Does yours look frozen? The live feed looks frozen.
No, mine's not.
Okay, good. I don't know, that something's wrong with mine. So yeah, after the month, I did see, in my opinion, yes, very dramatic results. I had lost 17 pounds that first month. My blood pressure, which I'm monitoring now because of the doctor, because at the time he said, you either do something, and I said, I'm going to start this diet with my sister. He wanted to put me on blood pressure medication. I said, and he said, once you go on, you go on. Like, it's not like you just go on for the month and you go off. And I know he probably knows this is how people are. Like, once you hit to a certain point, you're probably not going to be changing. You're 48 years old. I mean, he didn't say this to me, but that's in my head looking back. That's what I was thinking. But I don't want to be on medication. I don't want to be one of those people that's taking 20 pills. And I know people have, and people do, and that's fine. I'm certainly not telling everyone to go off all their medication. But in the end, if I said, if I lose weight, will that stop me? And he's like, well, of course, it'll probably bring your blood pressure down. And if you don't eat a lot of salt and you don't eat red meat and you don't eat this and you don't, so whatever. So after that first month, I saw all these changes. My blood pressure dropped, I had weight loss. So it's like, all right, let me just see how long I can do this. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. If I can go 1 month, I can go 2 months. Now I'm going 3 months. Now I'm losing more weight. I'm feeling better. Like, these health issues aren't coming back. And then I started talking to Judi about SmartyPlants and saying, hey, if I get involved, in my mind, it's like, if I get involved in that, I'm held accountable too. It's like, I can't just be like, oh, I'm part of the business now, but I eat meat and I don't really buy into it. Either buy into it 100% or you don't. I mean, it's one of the two.
And then when you approached me about it, like, hey, if you're serious about this business, I want to, do it with you. And I was like thinking, that means you want to eat this way? Like, you're going to continue? And he's like, oh yeah, I'm in. And I was so happy about that. I really couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that in 1 month he was going to jump in, head first. And he saw the effects in 1 month.
And I have to say, having my wife, kind of do it along with me, and to her credit, she'd always said that we don't need to eat meat. Like, why don't we just not eat meat? And it's like, you're crazy if you think I'm going to stop eating meat. So I know she always had that kind of inner not to eat the meat anyway. Cheese was different. I don't think I ever heard that come out of her mouth. But the meat, she was never a big meat eater anyway. Neither were our kids growing up. So I was the big meat eater, and that's what I would cook and I would make. But in the end, having her on for support or having someone, and I know some people have a lot of great support and some people are coming around. We talk about it in the groups and it's always great to see. And some people are on their own, and I get that. And it does make it more challenging, I could only assume. But for me, if my wife was just eating whatever she wanted, it would be tough for me to turn that stuff down when I started.
Right. And we have heard it in the group. A lot of people don't have partners or spouses who are on board 100%. And I like when I hear that, oh, my husband or partner will eat what I'm making, but they have some meat here and there. I love it that they're trying the food and they're open to it. Some I don't think are, I can see some people being like, no, like closed off. But, I just feel like the more you kind of introduce and show them that it could be tasty and just, dabble in it, have some here or there and still have your meat too. I think that's still great, and I think it's awesome that Shannon was always on board, from day one. It's like, you're doing it, I'm going to do it with you. And my partner, Frank, the same thing. I mean, he already was a vegetarian for all those years, but then when I met him, I had already stopped eating meat 8 years ago when I met him. It's like right after I met him or right before I met him. But then a year later, I was like, I think I'm done with dairy. And he's like, okay, I'm done with dairy. A few years later, I'm like, I'm done with fish. He's like, okay, I'm done with fish. I mean, that does make it a lot easier.
Sure. Of
When you
course.
have that kind of support. And then our kids were a little bit different. Like my daughter, she was never a big meat eater. I was the one pushing meat on her whole life. Like, try these ham cubes, have a rib bone, you know, and she was the one like always, she never wanted meat. And so she, once I started eating this way, she still ate meat here and there, but through the years, she's 21 now. So she was just a little kid when I started. And through the years, slowly, she's been, you know, Mom, make your tacos. Mom, make this sauce. You know, make your chili, make your lentils, make your meatloaf. Like, she loves the food. And I just think the more she eats the food, or the kids, Amelia eats, she loves the ranch dressing. The more they try it, yeah, just add it to your own lives as you get, you know, older and grow up. And
that's why I was saying, like, sometimes it's easier to do that. So you don't, you know, some people are saying, you know, my spouse isn't on board, or they're kind of on board. The idea is, okay, just incorporate more and more meals, have them try them, or them, not him,
yeah,
them. And the more you eat, like, that was kind of a bit of that's what seemed to make it possible for me. It's like, the food's still good. So when I stopped, and I always talk about that too, I kind of had to change my mindset of comparing this to that. So it's like, if I just take this for this, like, I look at a potato, oh, a potato, that's vegan. Well, how many people eat potatoes? You know, that's a plant-based food. Okay, well, but I put butter and sour cream. Right. The idea is we put a lot of green stuff. You know, my dog drinking cheese. So
no.
scale in the window. So the idea is, like, I judge all the food on how it tastes. So, and again, not everyone's going to love everything, and I know we've talked about that as well. But the idea is, you know, whatever this meal is, how does it taste? Am I sitting back, if I serve that, does everyone say, like, oh, this is a plant-based meal, and I guess it's okay for a plant-based meal? Or it's like, hey, I made this cream of mushroom soup. How is it? It's delicious.
Right.
It doesn't have to be, you know, that's a plant-based soup or vegan soup. So just breaking myself of that, I think, helped. Just you know, just whatever. Now I'm just eating food. It doesn't, you know, I don't like to label it. I mean, we do, because this is what we do. But in the end, I'm just having dinner. This is dinner, you know. And I think just there's a big misconception about the kind of food people eat that eat plant-based or whatever. I used to do the same thing. I had a joke about it. What are you going to be eating? Right? Rice cakes and lettuce? Like, is that your dinner? You know?
No.
Right. Exactly. So just breaking people that mindset. And I think some people are just very, very surprised when they eat, and it's just like, wow, this is delicious. And I'm like, oh, you don't have to be that surprised. Like, it's just something I cooked. Like, you know, I'm a good cook.
Oh, your friends, yeah.
Yeah, whoever, family, or whoever comes over and eats, you know. So nobody really knows what to expect sometimes. It's a little different when I go to people's houses, because, you know, I usually, and we'll get into this later, but I've taken a lot of advice from Judi. I'll call and be like, all right, I'm going to a dinner party. What do I do? You know, I'm panicking.
Right.
Like, what if they serve? So, you know, I always call ahead, see what they're having. I try to take the pressure off of people and just say, I'll bring food. What are you having? And I'm going to try and match what you're making. So we're all kind of eating the same thing. And it's not like I'm just eating my own little weird thing here and everyone's having all that stuff. So, but we'll get into that another day.
Yeah, it's just, it turns into just how you eat. It's like, I don't even give it a second thought. I just, you know, now we have so many things that we eat. We eat everything: pasta, tacos, pizza, stir fries, you know, and dairy and meat are not even in my radar at all. I'm not missing anything. I'm not trying to work around anything. It's just not a part of our world. And it just becomes more and more like that the more you eat this way. If you want to continue on this way, if you want to eat all plant-based, I'm telling you, it does just become part of you. It becomes part of, you know, what you eat. That's all it is. And you know, even if you don't, the more you add to your, I know a lot of you are adding these meals, which is wonderful. It's perfect. It's great. There's no, in our group, I don't want anyone to feel that you have to be one way or the other, or we want everyone all plant-based, you know. I mean, it would be great. Yes, we hope you head in that direction, of course, but there's no judgment. Like, we want everyone to be in their own journey wherever you are. Come and learn and be with us, and, you know, have great food, and just think of it as delicious food. some people are even saying, wow, I'm cooking more than ever. Like you're teaching me how to be like, like great in the kitchen. And that's what's so fun. I feel that way too. It's like,
Well,
I've never made my own sauces and crusts. And I mean, this week we're making veggie pot pie crusts. I'm not a pastry maker. But when I made this one, whoa, it's so good. But anyway, we'll get into that. But yeah, I mean, I'm learning too. I was a big cook, but not a chef. And Phil and I are not trained chefs, that's for sure. We just like to cook, and we have been cooking our whole lives, you know. But this type of cooking is a little different. And as soon as you learn a few things, you know, like I know some of you Kickstarters are already seeing, I always say it's all about the sauce. Once you see that when you make a great sauce, now you have that nacho crema in your back pocket. Now you have that jalapeno lime crema in your back pocket. And I see you making other things. You're like, oh, I drizzled this over my bowl. And exactly, that's what we were trying to help teach you, is once you have a cheese sauce, a pepper jack, a this or that, and you could create a ton of things. And you don't need to, you know, go down the dairy and meat route if you have something that delicious.
and one of the things that, you know, and I, like you said, like people are like, oh, I'm cooking, I'm doing this. And again, we've cooked our whole lives. I'm still finding myself, you know, things like that happen myself, where just like with the dressings and stuff, it's like, wow, you know, like I never made salad. I mean, we made salad, like dressed salad with vinegar and oil or whatever. Yeah. But I never made like dressings where I'm whipping it up and adding ingredients.
That's fun though. Yeah.
It was awesome. And now
or bottling it and putting it in your fridge, right?
Right, exactly. Never did that. I always just dressed the salad on the salad. Like that's how my mom always did it. And it was always kind of the same one, which I love. Like I always loved the vinegar and oil salad that we did. And that was always my go-to, or we just buy bottled dressing. But the idea now, even now, like the other day, it's like, all right, I'm just going to whip up a salad for dinner. And it's like, all right, I'm going to put in some miso. I'm going to put in some vinegar. I'm going to put in some mustard, garlic, you know. So now it's like, now I wasn't even following a recipe. It's like, I whipped one up, and it was like, I don't know what it was. It was really good. It's like, what do we have?
Replicate that, and I can't.
I know, right. So, I mean, again, it's kind of loosely based on a couple of different things, but in the end, yeah, you add, you know, I added some cashews to make, you know, want a creamy dressing. All right, I'll throw in some cashews and a little liquid because I know that's going to make it creamy. Like you get those little nuggets of information, and then take it your own, you know, in your own direction.
Right, and that is the fun part.
Yeah, right. It's been fun and kind of I wouldn't say relearning those things, but just learning a different aspect of cooking that because even now, like I could whip stuff up just based on what I know, but it's like the more you learn, the more stuff that you can just make on your own. You don't have to follow recipes all the time, but yeah, I do enjoy that for sure. So we've started SmartyPlants. So just real quick, just to kind of touch on, we do have two different plans, as most people know, but I do like to talk about it just because I know people find the group and they come in and they don't really know exactly what we're doing. You know, some people are asking, you know, where's the menus? What's a Kickstart? Where is the information? So we do offer two plans. We have the website is smartyplants.org, which is everything is kind of run off of. We use the Facebook group. It's kind of a support group, as everyone knows. So with the two plans, the one is the 28-day plan, which is to kind of get you started. People who don't know really what they're doing or what to cook, but want to try and either dabble in a plant-based lifestyle or, jump in, with both feet and, go on. It offers lessons, it offers the recipes, 28 days of everything to kind of walk you through the meal.
That's the Kickstart.
Did I not say that?
Well, you said the 28-day plan.
Oh, okay. So the 28-day Kickstart. So it's kind of for people who really, really would like to get started or want to get restarted. Or I know like sometimes I'll hear like, hey, I'm a vegetarian or I've been eating plant-based for a little while. I'm just stuck. Like, I don't even know what to make anymore, which I think I would probably be that person. Now you're just scrambling online, looking for random recipes and seeing what works out. I'm sure that's how a lot of people operate, just to do that. The other plan is kind of the next step. It's just offering new recipes each week, at least 3 new recipes each week. And then it has kind of a build your own meal plan. So you can kind of pick and choose what you want out of our recipe box. So as we bring new recipes on, they all go into the recipe box. No matter when you start, everything's there. So all the past recipes, all the current recipes, everything's in there. It's no holds bar. So you have access to every recipe that we're talking about in the group or people are bringing up or making, everything's in there. And it also has like a dynamic grocery list that attaches to the meals that you pick out. And it's just kind of that next step. We do put out an email every Friday for everyone. And then there's a meal prep for the meals that we just put out that week. So whether you're eating them all together or you're just eating one or two of those, you can kind of pick and choose, oh, okay, that's this meal. Here's the prep for that. That's what I can prep if you make it this week or next week or whenever. It's not really designed to say like, these are the 3 meals you have to be eating this week. It's, hey, here's 3 new meals. You can eat all 3 this week, or pick and choose other meals that you like. And we know not everyone's going to love every single meal. Yeah, every single person's not going to love every single meal. So in the end, it's like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to, I always tell people, try everything, because I've surprised myself over and over, time and time again, of thinking like, I'm probably not going to like this, and then it's like, oh, I love this. Like what a shock to myself.
Well, Julie, our recipe developer, let's not forget Julie. She surprises us all the time. Like she'll come up with these things when we talk. Like that's what we do. We say, oh, let's just use the gyro for example, but that Phil came up with. It's awesome.
Example. That was all.
I know that was all you.
That's just an example of something Julie didn't even make.
I just came to me because
give her credit.
Don't put me on the spot like that. We're live. No, but like we have these ideas and we'll talk. That's the fun part about the meal plan, is because we still want to eat these things. Now, I have not had a gyro in, I don't know how big of a gyro eater I was before I went plant-based, but obviously, I mean, honestly, 10 years probably or more. So yeah, the thought of having a gyro sounded delicious, if we could put it together. So that's the fun part. I mean, I feel like we do all kind of eat the same categories of food all the time. Like, I don't know, let's think of something fancy, like flambe, or like, I don't need to have crazy meals that I never make. I just want tacos, pizza, pasta, salads. I want the basics, but I want gyros sometimes, or I want a good meatloaf or a pot pie, or, there's always something new to try. And when you don't eat meat or dairy, and you grew up your whole life eating these foods, you love these foods. It's not about taste. I love sloppy joes and I love, burger, cheeseburger. I do love the taste of them. I don't like the idea of them anymore, but I like the taste of them. So I have no problem trying to replicate some of these things. And that is the fun part. It's like somebody said, you brought Caesar salad back to my life. It's true. Yeah. You brought pot pie back to my life. You brought gyros back to my life. That's what's fun about the meal plan, because we are excited about this stuff. So we want 3 new meals every week. So back to Julie, Phil and I will come up with ideas. I'll meet with Julie and Julie will say, oh boy, that's okay, wait a minute. But anyway, we work together to come up with these, things like the pie. We'll work it out. And we come up with these fun things together. Why was I talking about Julie?
Well, we were just talking about the recipe development, and
I got a point.
I don't know what your point was. Lucky this isn't live.
I go off on tangents. Anyway, we love Julie. No, she's awesome. I mean, that's the thing. Julie will work on these over and over and over, and then just give them to us. I'll try it once and it's so good, and it's just like, wow, like that nacho crema, that was all Julie. And she made that nacho crema as part of these Anaheim peppers. They're on the site. I haven't seen any of the meal planners make them yet or comment. And there's so many of those past meals that I really can't wait for people to try, because I made those peppers 2 summers ago. And I wasn't even thinking, I never made Anaheim peppers. And oh, that's what we were talking about. Like Julie will bring up this stuff. Where do I get Anaheim peppers? And she's like, at the store. They're right there in the bin. Okay. They're nice for stuffing and they're not hot. So then we make a quinoa, with beans, and we stuff the peppers, and then this nacho crema, this new sauce. Okay, I'll make a new sauce. So I stuffed them, made them, came out, drizzled the sauce on. Frank and I took a bite. We were like, oh my gosh, that is so good. And the sauce, and I fell in love with the nacho crema. I mean, the first time I made it, and so Julie will say like, yes, it has 5, 6 ingredients, but it's the balance of those ingredients that is tricky. So Julie will make it over and over till she gets it just right. And if any of you are familiar with our sauces, you know that if you make it, you know it's going to be good because it's perfected. It just is. And that's what she spends her time on. So, I know that not, like Phil said, not everybody's going to like everything. Somebody just this week said they didn't like the nacho crema. That's completely fine. Of course, you're going to have different tastes. We feel really good about it because 98% of the people that try that one really love it. There's going to be some people who don't. And I do honestly get a little bit bummed out when I hear people don't like certain things, and I'm like really want to like work
Impossible.
on that. I mean, Phil had to cut me off on the pea soup like 4 years ago. I made that pea soup so many times, and he said, "Okay, put the pea soup down. It's done. It's good." He's like, "And you're gonna love it, and not everyone's gonna love it." And so I'm like, "Okay, you're right. I gotta let it go."
But
that's why I worked on the banana bread.
That's why she's eating banana bread and banana muffins right now.
Speaking of that, I just wanted to show that Miss Silicone. See, I really do get into this stuff. But look at this is just amazing. The silicone. Look at that.
Right.
Yeah, I just recently bought those. Anyway, I was working on these and the banana bread because I just had to add a little tweak to make them just a little bit better, and they are better. But I wanted to try these. I mean, this is how they came out of the oven, warm, just like that.
Yeah.
By the way, these do stick a little bit to the paper unless they're completely cool, because you want to eat them warm out of the oven, and then you're ripping half of them stuck to the paper. Anyway, okay.
So another point with Julie is or just with us making the meals is a lot of this are either older dishes or family dishes. Not a lot of these, but we have family dishes where it's like, hey, how can we remake the lasagna, or how can we remake the scuttle and beans, or how can we remake this, or taking old recipes. Or things like gyros, like that, and that's where I mean, I love gyros. I mean, we used to live in Greektown in Chicago, and like, we used to have friends that would come in, and every time they come, and even still, they want to go to Greektown, and it's just like now I miss that. I miss getting the gyros, and I miss getting the whatever, all the different stuff. So like that was one thing, or a few things like that, where it's like I really have a taste for a gyro. I want to create that. And I was struggling. And again, we bring this up time and time again. The idea here is we're making all the mistakes or trying to create these things in the kitchen.
Trust me,
so you don't have to, I made that gyro meat, 3 times before we were talking on the site, and someone said, you should, try it in the crumbles. And it's like, and it's like,
someone on the site said that.
I know. And it was awesome. Like, yeah, of course. Why not? Like that I should have thought of that first. But that was the difference. The seitan just is not tasting right, and it's like, all right, back burner this. I can't do it. I can't make it again. There's a couple of things where you just make it so many times. It's like
we have a folder of back burner recipes. I made the corn fritters 10 times, and I can't eat
like,
another
I am corn frittered out.
It's gonna be a next summer thing. I can't do it anymore. Wow.
And it happens. I mean, that's the downside, but sometimes the upside is, man, you nail it the first time. It's like, wow, this was awesome. Maybe a little tweak
Vanessa's here. Hi, Vanessa. I just saw her in the group.
Oh, wow, Vanessa.
All the way from New Zealand. I remember. Oh my gosh. Hi.
So yeah, it does make it fun and exciting, and then being able to eat some meals that I like right when I started. You can go back and watch my video, and I don't know if that was included, but like I had just bought like a thing of Italian beef, and I'm like, there's one video of me like saying goodbye to the beef as I put it away in the freezer or whatever. But there were some things I'm like, okay, I'm in my head, it's like, okay, I'll probably never have this again. And again, I hate to say never, never, but we've talked about that. But in the end, it's like things like hot dogs and beef sandwiches and pizza. In my head, it's like, I can't have all this stuff.
Right.
And as you go on, it's like, I am having lasagna. I am having scatol and beans. I am having, all these things I didn't think I was going to be able to have. And then sometimes I'm just blown away. So that is exciting. And really, when people ask me about it, even right now, I never feel like, boy, am I missing out on eating so many things. It's like, I'm eating more things now and more diverse menu than I ever have. Right. I mean, if you go back and logged the meals I used to make on a daily basis, right, it was probably tacos, pizza, hamburger. Like it was probably always kind of the same. And then we throw in a whatever, a
Our
different
family
kind of-
recipes.
Yeah, right, exactly. So I don't miss any of that stuff. I mean, it's just not, it's not on my radar, just like anything. I quit smoking 20 years ago. I don't wake up thinking about cigarettes and when's my next cigarette, you know, like it's just out of your head, out of your life. And now I'm just leaving my life. And people are always like, oh, don't you still think about it? No, of course not. Like it's
No,
now
because you're
been so
eating
long.
delicious food, right? You
Yeah.
don't think about it. Mm-mm.
Not at all. No, I just go
And
on.
then the more you learn about it, for me anyway, the more I don't want that. Yeah, I crave the taste of certain things, but I don't want that. It's not like I'm feeling deprived that I don't have hot dogs in my life. Honestly, I just wouldn't want a hot dog, you know? I don't want it because I learned too much about hot dogs. So yeah, the taste of a hot dog, yeah, sure, that's good. Tasty, but no thanks, you know, it's just.
And I know you used to say that, and I know like, and sometimes things are hard to believe when you hear them based on where you are. So on day one, if you would have said like, you're not going to crave pizza when everyone's eating pizza, I said, you're crazy. I always will. That'll never go away. But what did change is you, I mean, you were absolutely right. You'd be like, when you're not eating, because when I'd eat pizza, you go to a pizza party, whatever, we get pizza, I would eat pizza. I'd probably eat 10, 12 pieces of pizza. Again, like the Chicago squares or whatever, not like New York folded slices.
You ate 10 slices of pizza.
But I would eat pizza till I was stuffed. You know, I mean, certain things I would just keep eating. Breaded steak and mashed potatoes, I would eat 3 plates of it, just as much as I can. So you're right. Now I'm finished eating with things, and it's like I don't feel sick anymore. Like I don't feel stuffed anymore. I feel satisfied. Like I ate, I ate, and I'm done. Like I try to get break myself of that, just kind of overeating just because it tastes good. But yeah, I don't feel like I'm missing out on on any of those things anymore, which is great. Mentally, I was struggled with that when I started thinking like, how will I ever not think about it? You know, now it's just like, it's just so funny looking back and like my thought process behind it. And it was just like, how could I not be thinking about it anymore? Well, I just don't.
Well, just like anything, it's like, don't say forever, just say today. Like, I'm going to do this today. Yep. I'm going to try this. I never like to put those limits on, or, on myself. Like I failed if I don't do this forever. It's like, no, I'm doing this right now. And that made me feel better at first, I'm just doing this for right now, and then I just, like you said earlier, I did it for 1 week and then it turned into 2 weeks and it's like, it turned into 3 weeks. So I learned a little bit. Hey, I'm kind of doing this now and hey, I'm feeling great. And I don't miss that anymore. It kind of turned into it. And I always had this, if I wanted to have some pizza with cheese, I'm just going to have it, or whatever it was. I never told myself I'm not. And when I gave up meat, I didn't want it. It's like, that's what changed for me. It was just like a change in my mind. It was never like, I can't have that again,
Sure. Yeah. And everyone thinks differently. So
yeah,
it is, and that is what I like. I like hearing people's views on what they're going through. And again, everyone has challenges, everyone has struggles. And I know I post those positive comments online, and one of them has that. It's like, if there's no failures, there's probably going to be no successes. You learn by these, and again, I use the term failures, but very tongue in cheek here. But when you slip, I slipped and I had this, or whatever it is, it's like, all right, well then I know, like for instance, I know not to go places where if I don't know what the food options are, I know not to go hungry. Because what's going to happen is I'm going to be angry. There's not going to be much to eat. So again, had I not gone the first time and been angry and hungry and everything else, I'm probably not going to learn that for the second time. So it's like, all right, that happened, but I'm going to learn from that, and I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen again. But had I not gone through it, you don't learn from things like that. So
and we talk about all of that in the Kickstart too, and that's kind of why we built the lessons, because of all of our experiences. And we know all that's coming, and it's not. It is a challenge. Eating out's a challenge. Holidays are a challenge, and so. We, hopefully with the group, and the support's been awesome in the group, we're all there to support each other through it, and just learn in the Kickstart and all the lessons on, what to do when you go to restaurants, what to, like how I told Phil, bring a dressing with you, call ahead, ask the host. Yeah, it's a little intimidating. Hey, can I bring my own dish, but bring enough to share, and then bring enough that your dish is actually your meal, because you want to be eating at a party, and the holidays are all coming up. And I know people are already thinking, how am I going to get through the holidays? Well, if you slip up or you have a little bit of something, like that's fine. It's not really a slip up. Just do your best, but go into them with a little plan, like I said, bring some things. I mean, my slip ups are, let's just say, oil. Like I am not eating meat or dairy or fish or anything like that, but my slip ups come with vegan fast food or just oily things like eating out at restaurants. Luckily, I mean, we haven't really been eating out, and that's one good thing. We haven't really been eating out at restaurants at all. But there's takeout, and we get our favorite pizza down the block. No cheese, but there's probably some oil in the sauce. So yeah, that's kind of my downfall sometimes is oil. So I don't cook with oil. The whole week I go without it. I never buy processed foods, but then here and there, I'll slip up. And I know the holidays are coming, and that's going to happen, so that's going to be my challenge over the holidays is to keep the oil at bay.
And again, it's not really a slip up. I mean, sometimes
No,
it's
it's
like,
not.
I do want to have an Impossible Burger, or I do
Yeah.
want to have some chips or whatever it is. Same thing. I don't want chips sitting here all week where it's like, I do want to have chips. I do want to have chips. I do want to have chips. Or I'm eating chips
Yeah.
all week. But yeah, if I'm at a party and they have potato chips, it's like, what, I'm going to have a couple, or whatever the case may be. But
Right.
we wanted to get a pizza, a no cheese pizza that might have a little oil, or go out for Indian food or Chinese food or something that we can't control the oil in. But yeah, I don't want to just be like, no, we can't go out for dinner because they might put oil in something, But you're right. It's never like, okay, let's just have a regular hamburger with cheese on it, or whatever. I do keep dairy and meat completely out of it.
That was my point. Like, it's not that type of but yeah, the oil, I agree. Like, sometimes you just want to have a couple of French fries or a couple of potato chips, and you and I eat like that. There's certainly people who don't, and there's people for health reasons that they don't eat salt, they won't ever touch anything with sugar in it. Now, I might have something with refined sugar in it over the holidays, as long as there's no dairy in it. But yeah, I'll have a vegan, for sure. I'll have a vegan dessert. We'll buy some probably for Thanksgiving, I mean, yeah, for me, that's how I want to live my life. It's a holiday. I'll buy a vegan chocolate cake and I'll have a piece.
Right. So with that, we did release the new meals today. It's Friday, like we talked about. So we had a great 3-tier or 3 recipe lineup this week.
And we hope you're finding the meal planners. We hope you're finding these meals exciting, because to us they are exciting.
It is fun.
We're trying to make them exciting and fun, and that's what we're going to be, putting out for you, and that's what we're going to be working on. And, also, I think we just put out the survey today. Did you put, what type of meals would you like to see? Because, this is your meal plan. So let us know, because we have Julie up, and we are going to start planning for things. If you want to see it in the meal plan, just let us know and we'll start working on it. And we're going to say something.
Well, I was going to say, either whether it's a specific meal or types of meals. So we're kind of we'd like to take this all in and then create stuff that people want. So if same thing, if 10 people say like, hey, we want to, whatever, Polish sausage, hey, a lot of people want the Polish sausage. Maybe we should try to have Julie or we'll try and do the basic sausage recipe. But go through that. And just like with the Kickstart, if you participated with the Kickstart, I put out a survey at the end of that. Same thing. We want to try and kind of gather all this information. If 20 people say, yeah, more pizza and pasta type recipes, easy, quick stuff, that's what we'll focus on. If everyone's looking for big, extravagant meals, maybe we'll throw more of those out too. The idea is, I don't want to just say like, here's what everyone's going to like every time.
Yeah.
Because some things you may not know, like Judy said with that gyro. I love the gyro and I like the idea of the gyro. I don't know if you would have ever put out a gyro, being like, I haven't had one in 10 years. I
wouldn't have thought of it as something that was really exciting to me, but when I tried it, whoa, it was so good, and I forgot what I was missing. See, I wouldn't have thought it, but when you said it, I was like, oh, that does sound good.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's more and I'm definitely more of that kind of eater, like that, like things that I miss. Like, what am I missing? What do I want to have? Like, steak sandwich, bread, the Polish sausage, whatever it was, like those types fast foodish type of meals.
Yeah.
Good. So you want to go through the meal plan?
Well, one of those is our Veggie Pot Pie, and to me that is like really a highlight, because our dad used to make, he used to make like a big production on a certain thing. And he loved his pot pies. And so he would, I don't even think he made that dough. No, he didn't, did he?
No, I think he bought a pie crust, but the top, like pies didn't. Did they
Must have
come with
made the
tops?
top.
I think he made the
Anyway, he
tops.
would have a pie that was like this thick and
It was a pie.
it was a giant pie. And he would put potatoes, onions, everything we put in ours, carrots, carrots and peas, of course, peas. He loved peas. But anyway, just, you know, the typical chicken pot pie, I guess. It was never veggie, it was always chicken.
No, yeah, it was always.
But it was like all this gravy, and he would come out of the oven, he'd have his towel over his shoulder and he'd present it like, ooh, look at that. You know, so it's comfort food to us. And it's just like one of those things that I really wanted a pot pie. And I haven't, have you had a pot pie? I haven't even had a pot pie. I think Frank has ordered veggie pot pies in vegan restaurants, but
Yeah,
I can't remember the last
just
time
like
we
your
had a
gyro,
bite of a pot pie.
I probably haven't had one, and it wasn't something I would have ever ordered. Like, I mean, I don't remember ever ordering one in a
No.
restaurant. So if that's the case, I probably haven't had one in 15 years.
And you haven't.
The kids probably had one, and I probably tasted it when they were small.
But that was your idea. I remember we were coming up with the
Yeah,
meal plan.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
your idea. You said pot pie, and I was like, oh yeah, I want a pot pie. So I was super excited because I haven't had one in a long time. And again, Julie with this gravy. Whoa. Okay. So the gravy in this pie is to die for. It is so good. And so like the thought of making a pot pie is a little bit daunting. It's like, I'm not a baker personally, so I never really even made a pie crust ever my whole life. My niece is our resident dessert maker, Phil's daughter, Amelia. But I never made pies or cakes really, or even muffins. I just didn't. So that seemed daunting. But we're trying to make everything really simple. So I know the thought of making a crust and making a pie might sound like a lot, but here's the thing. We make a quick gravy. So think of it this way. It's gravy, vegetables, and crust. That's all it is. So you make a quick gravy that you make like with all of our dishes. Delicious. Put that aside. Carrot, like 4 vegetables, carrots, potatoes, onions, and peas. That's simple. And the crust is like 6 ingredients. And the beauty is there's no bottom crust. It's just a top crust. And when Julie said that, I was like, oh, my dad always made a bottom crust. And she goes, no, it's really hard. And everything, she did a book on pies. She knows, she's made 1,000 pies or more. She's like, no, it's really challenging to get that crust on the bottom right. It gets mushy. So I was like, okay, you know, I usually go with what she says. And so it's like, okay, no bottom crust. I said, will it thicken? Yeah, it's going to thicken up great. And it did. Anyway, so you just roll out like 6 or 7 ingredients, make it, roll it out, done. Put it on top, put it in the oven. I mean, it's really easy and it is so good. And this recipe, what I want to say about the crust is that it's keep in mind, there's no oil. So that was the challenging part about this crust. And, you know, it's not going to be that buttery, flaky,
golden brown.
Yeah, it's just not, but that doesn't mean it's not delicious. And so this is just another thing I hope that we keep talking about, because it's sort of like it's like a shift in thinking a little bit.
For sure.
It's never going to taste just like everything. It's never going to taste like butter and oil and all that refined sugar. It's just not. And you know what? You don't really want it to. So I want to stop comparing. And even myself, it's like, and Julie said, it's not going to be that flaky, buttery crust you might be thinking of your dad's pie. Just keep that in mind. But it's not, but it's delicious for what it is. And it's just a delicious crust. You could see it in the photo. I'm looking at it here. It's beautiful. It never gets golden brown. It gets a little bit brown, but it gets nice and firm. And it's almost like, not crackery, but it's like, it's just nice. You have to just make it. You'll see what I mean. It's really, really good. And the gravy is amazing. I mean, it's just delicious.
Just another one of those meals that takes you back. Like that's,
yeah,
you know,
it takes me back. Wow.
The pot pies. I mean, when we were kids, we used to eat pot pie. Like my mom would buy like the little frozen. Remember the little?
Yeah, I love those. I
Yeah.
forgot about them.
Yeah, whatever. I don't even know who made them, but yeah, like we had like little different pot pies or whatever.
Yeah.
So I do like that kind of nostalgic feel of a pot pie as well.
Yeah. Oh, and then like let them sit for a little bit because they're super, super hot on the inside, just like the pot pies that you might know and bake frozen. Yeah, you have to, when you take them out of the oven, let them sit for a little bit, and then all the gravy kind of sets. and then cut into it, and it's still going to be super, super hot. So be careful. And the recipe makes like tons of gravy. And so at first you only mix half of it in and you have half of it remaining. And I was like, wow, that's like way too much gravy. And Frank's just like, bring over that gravy. And then I was like, oh yeah, it says it right in the recipe that Julie wrote at the bottom, just spoon it on top, spoon the gravy over the pie. And it is, you want all that extra gravy. So you just spoon it over. Oh my gosh, it's so good. So you're going to have extra gravy. You're going to want it.
Quick funny pot pie story. Not that was me, but when I was working in the shipping industry, we had a big business meeting, and it was all men except for one woman. And my boss had rented, or I just got like a little banquet room. There was like, I don't know, 12 people eating. It was for lunch or whatever. And the one lady ordered the pot pie, just thinking like, oh, it's gonna be like this little tiny pie. And then they started serving all the meals, and they brought over like a full-size pie, and the crust, I don't even know what they did with the crust. It was like hanging over the ends. They made like this presentation, and she was so embarrassed. Like, look at that. She was like eating this huge pie.
Oh my gosh.
That was like the last time I had seen a pot pie like coming to someone's plate. That was funny.
I just noticed I can't answer comments. I tried to, and it's opening another window.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure that out. It keeps opening oh well.
Well, we'll get through some technical difficulties. I know we had talked about kind of, I know people are in here and talking and possibly asking questions. Or
I know, I was just trying to answer. I can't answer anybody.
Yeah, that's the only problem when you do it like this is right. Then you're looking at the screen and you're concentrating on here. You're trying
I guess I can answer verbally.
Yeah, of course.
That shepherd's pie is the same thing as pretty much the same thing as a pot pie, but pot pie has a crust on the top. Well, I'm just saying the shepherd's pie I think has mashed potatoes on the top.
Yeah.
Okay, the pot pie has a pie crust.
Well, it's also like it's like more of a minced meat pie. Shepherd's pie. I mean, when you a classic shepherd's.
Oh, is it?
Pie.
Okay, then I don't know shepherd's pie. Okay.
Which I love too. I try to do that.
That does sound good.
Yeah, we can try and do that. I see a lot of people doing it with lentils, just a lentil shepherd's pie. We'll see. We'll see. So the rotini with butternut squash and thyme, number 2 recipe on the meal plan today. The wine sauce and the creamy wine sauce.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I mean, what I love about that one is just super simple. Again, like a super simple cream sauce. It's basic. Those cashews are just miracle nuts. But like just a quick creamy sauce. You don't have to add the wine in, but I know some people probably won't want to add wine, but the wine just gives it like a little punch. I don't really cook with wine. Do you much? You're the one who adds it to like the stews and stuff.
Yeah, that's probably about it. I don't add it to like our pasta gravy or anything like that.
No,
there are certain things that I do like red wine in.
Typically, I wouldn't cook with wine, and I wouldn't just because of the taste, and I wouldn't order a wine sauce. But I tried it because that was the way she intended it. And again, I just love that. I love the flavor. It just gives it like a punch or something. Yeah. It's really good you just roast the butternut squash in the oven with some thyme and toss it with the cream sauce. I mean, it's super simple and it's really flavorful. And it's one of those dishes where it's like, it looks kind of fancy too, like with the fresh thyme, and you could, have it for a dinner party. I'd probably do that. Or just during the week, I mean, we had a lot of butternut squash. We have a lot of recipes with butternut squash because like this time of year, I mean, I've been just cooking with it a ton. I love it.
Yeah.
And then I think, so this one, it's kind of tricky to cut those butternut squash. It's kind of dangerous to cut it into cubes. So you have to be very, very careful.
You'll lose a finger.
Yeah, it's scary. I mean, even when you cut them in half to roast them, that's hard to cut it. Yeah, I know. So be careful, and you don't have to cut it like that. I think I say this in the recipe. So what I do, if this is the butternut squash unpeeled, I lay it on its side, cut it in half this way, and then these little chunks are easier to peel them then cut it in half lengthwise, because that's much easier to control than that big slippery butternut. I mean, that is really scary. I don't like cutting squash.
But even in the
So-
recipe, you said you could buy the bag of pre-cut,
Yeah.
you know, what's the difference? Just a,
Or buy the bag. I mean, yeah, easily you can buy those. Yeah, already pre-cut into cubes.
It's probably just a little more expensive.
24 ounce. Yeah, that's because you want like a lot of squash because it's really good. Okay, I guess that's all. Oh, and that one, a heartier pasta like a rotini or a shells is better. It's just it's better with that type of sauce than like a noodly pasta, I think.
And then rounding it out, the noodles of bok choy and mushrooms with the spicy almond butter sauce. So
Yeah,
you're
so-
saying with the almond butter, like talk about that almond butter.
Well,
like,
I know Phil's like a big fan of the peanut noodles. If you guys have had the peanut noodles, they're so good. We love those peanut noodles. And so when I first made this one, I was surprised because I'm not a huge almond butter fan, especially, I mean, just to have it like on toast. Like if I'm gonna have it, I love peanut butter. It's like my thing. So I eat peanut butter toast, you know, 3 times, 4 times a week. But I love the peanut noodles too, and I love anything peanut butter. So if I'm gonna have this sauce, I always thought I'm just gonna have the peanut noodles. But when Julie came up with this sauce, and she was like, it's so good because it's toasty and creamy like peanut butter, but it's just different because it doesn't taste like peanut butter. So yeah, again, it's just really nice because you get that toastiness and you get the creaminess, but it doesn't taste like peanut butter. So this sauce has, I'm trying to think what's in it exactly. There's like lime in it. Oh yeah, we put the little bit of the red chili sauce in it, so it has some zing. And it's just, this sauce is like super flavorful. So it's like a creamy, toasty, you know, zingy sauce with the well, shiitake mushrooms. What else is in it? The bok choy. I'm just reading. Yeah. And then the edamame, you can buy the edamame shelled. You can find those anywhere.
You could even dress it up. I mean, I know I do that with the peanut noodles with, you know, red cabbage. You can kind of throw in some other stuff. I know a lot of people have been throwing mushrooms in a lot of stuff. You can throw in, you know, you don't have to use shiitake mushrooms either. You can use, I think it's even in the recipe, your choice of mushrooms. But like sometimes I want to have a little crunch in it, or I want to have, you know, a little zing in it, or I want to have a little something else. I know we had, you know, squeezed lime in over the peanut noodles sometimes. We, you know, we do different stuff, but same type of dish where you can kind of, you know, change it up a little each time you make it too.
It's so good. I mean, it has ginger and garlic and it's really good. And you don't have to add the spicy sauce. So it's sambal olek. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Olek. I always have a little jar of this in my fridge. You guys can find it anywhere. I mean, it's like probably the international section, but there's no oil or sugar in it. And it's just that like little chili sauce. So I like to throw it in my stir fries. I just eat it on top of broccoli if I'm having a bowl of steamed broccoli. It's just a really nice spice. So we just throw some of that in, and it really makes that creamy almond sauce really nice and some heat into it. But you don't have to add it. But anyway, I write all of this in the notes, so you can read about that in the notes in the meal plan. But yeah, it's delicious. I mean, all together. And and noodles. Like a heartier noodle, like an udon noodle is really good with this. You can get, I use whole wheat udon, but you can also get brown rice. But they're just like a nice hearty noodle and they don't get mushy. Sometimes those pad thai noodles they're thinner. I love them. Yeah. I eat those all the time, but you have to leave them like very al dente or they break apart. Right. These are very hearty. So I love the udon noodles in this.
So also don't forget, next week is the Thanksgiving spectacular menu that we're doing. So everyone's, I'm sure, excited about that. We're excited to be putting that out. We don't want to give anything away on that. So the idea is to put it out a week before Thanksgiving. Obviously, if we put it out the following Friday, it's going to be too late. So yeah, it'll be the week before. So everyone can kind of look. And then what we'll also probably do in the email as well is kind of go through the recipe box and find some other alternatives too. So it's, you know, we'll have the regular meals and some other stuff from the past that may work with the, you know, with Thanksgiving as well. So we want to make sure we're covering everybody, whether you're cooking for people at home or just bringing side dishes or bringing a dessert or something like that. So we'll have a nice meal for that. I did want to just quickly just touch on, there was some website issues this week with the newsletter and the regular email. So I think we've gotten this all figured out and situated. I know I appreciate people kind of just chiming in saying whether they got it or not. So right now, whether you were part of the Kickstart or the meal plan, you'd automatically be kind of registered for the newsletter as we assign the accounts up. That's how the site works. So if you know you've done that and you know that you've never received it or you've never unsubscribed to it, you should be getting it. You could certainly shoot me a message just saying, hey, I'm not getting it. But if you search your email for smartyplants.org, it should come up, and then you may have to kind of whitelist us. It might be going into like a promotional email folder, or it might be going into a spam folder or something like that. But right now, everyone should have it. I know some people are unsubscribing and maybe forgetting that they're unsubscribing or not knowing that they clicked the unsubscribe or something. So if you ask me, I can go back and it will say like this user has unsubscribed on this particular date. The only way for me to resubscribe you is to go back to the website, add your email address in as if I were you. So it's very easy to get back on the list. So if you aren't getting them, I tell you just to just do a quick search and see if you could find it and then kind of whitelist it. If you can't find it or you don't think you're getting it, just let me know and I can look it up and we can kind of work through it. But either way, just if there are issues with the site, if you hear us talking about, hey, meal planners, did you get your email? And you're thinking, I never got mine, let us know. I know someone brought up the fact that the grocery list had a glitch in it. We just did not know that. There was no way for us to know unless we're creating these meals in the system. And then a few people jumped on board saying, oh yeah, I noticed that wasn't working. I knew that wasn't working too.
I love that feedback. Somebody just said the tamale pie didn't have the temperature in it.
Exactly. So if you do see that, let us know.
That was awesome to know because it's going to help everybody. And it's really just the two of us doing this, and we're trying to be very diligent with the recipes, but we're going to have mistakes. There's going to be typos. We're trying our best, but let us know. Like somebody brought up the banana bread, going back to that, there was a discrepancy in the Kickstart banana bread and the meal on the recipe box, in the recipe box. And I didn't know, I hadn't made it in a while. I didn't know which, I couldn't remember, were there dates in it or not. And it just seemed off. So I had to like take them down and remake them. But like, we love that. I know people think that, I don't know if I want to say, somebody said that recently, I'm sorry to say this, but we need that feedback and we really appreciate it. So please keep it coming.
Yeah. So if there, and we're trying, like, even with that, like someone had reported that the grocery list issue, I contacted the web development company. We worked through it. We got it fixed within, I believe it was that same day. So had no one said anything.
Didn't know at all.
It just been going on and on. So, we really appreciate that. And then after I post, a lot of people are chiming in. So which is great, not chiming in, but giving us the feedback and everything, which is great. So once it's fixed, we're good, we'll move on. But we do appreciate people kind of, helping us out in that regard as well. So if you see anything, just let us know. Don't be embarrassed or don't think you're like embarrassing us or anything. Well, it is embarrassing. Well, if something's broken, we want to fix it right away. Or even like with that, with the just forgetting the thing. Judi and I are doing this on our own. In the end, like on Fridays, I'm up at 4 or 3 in the morning sometimes. She's up at 5. We're trying to get the weekly meal plans in. Something might get overlooked, and I go through it, she goes through it, we try to double check everything, making sure everything's perfect. And sometimes something just slips through. So if you see something, say something, and we want we want to know about it. So
and then I just want to talk about like so these recipes, some of them have been on there a while, even though we just got started, a couple months ago or earlier this year. But these are older recipes, and I haven't made them in a while. And so sometimes when I make them now, I want to upgrade them a little bit. So I, I didn't realize that like taking a recipe off the site, because this is what just happened with the muffins. I thought I would take the recipe off the site, wait till it's perfected, and then put it back because I was going to make it that day or like that weekend or something. That was my old thinking. I didn't think somebody would be making it, but it happened. So like just when I took the muffins down, somebody popped up and said, I've been looking and looking, where's the banana muffin? And then I felt so bad. I was like, oh, geez, I took it down because I'm working on it. You see, but we're just learning. I didn't realize, like, I never thought someone would go back and be making it right when I took it down, but that's going to happen. So I learned that. So now I'm not going to take them down. I think I'm just going to upgrade them on the site, but I will always have the original recipes. So that recently happened with another recipe. Somebody said, oh, I love that. I want the other one. Don't change it. So I get that. I totally get that, but just know when I'm changing it, I'm just making them better or easier. I'm not going to take away any flavor or anything like that. It's either going to be better or it's going to be easier. But I will always have the originals. So I'll be happy to email you the originals for sure. Because I definitely know that feeling. Like, it was perfect. I love it. Don't change anything. We have all the old recipes in our files. I'm just not going to do, Phil and I decided we're not going to do like hummus 1, hummus 2, hummus 3. We're just going to be too confused. We just want one hummus on the site, but we might have 4 hummus. I think we do. We have like a couple of different.
Yeah, there'll be different recipes, but not versions of the same recipe.
Yeah, not versions of the same hummus is what I'm saying. But yeah, like, we're not going to have 3 banana nut muffins or whatever they are. We're just not going to, we just want one. So that's what I'll be doing in the future. I don't think I'll be taking away any recipes, because then I don't want people to feel like they can't count on the recipes always being there. I totally get it. It was Crystal. She had already gone shopping. She already had her oat flour ready to go and her bananas out, and then she goes to see the recipe and it's gone. So we don't want that to happen anymore. So that will not happen anymore. I learned.
Sure, of course. All righty, so I did want to just, I know we're nearing our end here. I just wanted just briefly just give a shout out. I know, like I said, we're trying to create a great community here, and we are. We appreciate everybody and all their contributions at whatever level it is. As a Facebook admin, you can kind of get some statistics on kind of your most popular post, how many people are viewing it. You can also get who's your top contributors as well to the site. So I did want to just give a shout out, and I hope I get everyone's name right here. Obviously, I don't have any pronunciation key, but Sheila Seaton, we appreciate it. Brenda, is it Eats, I assume? Alicia Aldas, Nell Tate Moore, and then the numero uno, that's right, Mary Stewart, of course. Awesome job. We appreciate everybody contributing. Like I said, this is just Facebook giving me kind of the top, and this is based on the likes that you give, the posts that you make, and
support
then
for others.
And then, well, I'm just saying, as far as Facebook is concerned, that's how they compile.
I appreciate the support.
They give like importance to those 3 things: likes, comments, and posts that you make. So that's that. I just wanted to kind of just give the standouts a little some props for kind of being there and doing it. Mary, I got to say, I mean, you are on it all the time. I mean, you are commenting on everyone, giving people support. Not that anyone else isn't. I'm just saying, like, I see Mary on all the time.
I know, and it's
even
really
offline, Judi and I are talking about it.
It really makes it fun to see the food photos too. And I know Mary posts a lot of her food photos. It's just so exciting to us to see the food, and just to see the enthusiasm and, people loving the food. It really means everything. And I know it's not easy. It's not, because your food looks pretty too. And trust us, we're not food photographers either, but we have to take pictures of the actual food on the site, and it's challenging, but it's so fun to see your food. And I don't know, when we work on these recipes so much and we see other people loving it and enjoying it, I know that takes time to take photos, and plus you want to eat, so
that's the biggest problem I have.
Because you're inspiring everybody. It's really, really means a lot, because that one food photo, we will see it. We'll see one person, and then a bunch of people will make one thing, and then you get other people excited to make these things. And that means everything. That means more people will be joining the meal plans. That means we'll be able to keep going, we'll be able to keep getting more people on board. And it's just, it's what we're trying to build. And so you guys are really, really, really appreciated for doing
we got a lot of great ideas, and I know people, and again, we're trying to take in, if you guys have ideas, like I said, we're going to be putting out surveys and stuff to get input on different things. We have a lot of things planned to do. Being able to do them we're getting to it. We're getting to
Yeah.
it. So, but we appreciate everybody. That's going to do it for our first show. We had a great time. Hope everyone enjoyed themselves. It'll be kind of different each week. We'll be doing different stuff, and hopefully everyone will join us. Again, we'll put out some surveys and some questions to see when people are available, and we might make some changes and things. But in the end, we appreciate everyone being here. Everybody, have a great weekend, eat some great food, and stay positive. Do some great things this weekend, huh?
Have a good weekend, everybody.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
See you soon.